New research just released says using e-cigarettes to quit smoking is the best way to kick the habit, but the dangers of them exploding are still there. Our reporter Molly Casey spoke to a man who says his e-cigarette exploded. And Molly, what's he going to do going forward?
Well, Cornelius, he's going to be more cautious. The man says he can't believe this happened to him, and he wants to share his story so everyone knows to be careful when using e-cigarettes.
You try running up through your house, the basement, carrying like a stick of dynamite with you.
It may be small, but David Hitch's vape pen left a big mark. He had just plugged it in to charge when it started smoking.
I put my shirt over my nose and covered my mouth, and I was trying to open windows, set fans up.
The vape pen was incredibly hot, around 400 degrees. So when he tried to move it, it burned his finger and then exploded, filling his home with noxious fumes and forcing him to spend the night in the backyard.
It took at least 48 hours to get the fumes out, and even now today there's still a slight smell of it still in the basement.
Hitch isn't the first to have a vape pen explode. Between 2009 and 2014, there were 25 media reports of exploding vape devices, and the FDA only extended regulatory overview of e-cigs last year. But there isn't any regulation on the parts or batteries used.
And so you wouldn't think, something this small could be that powerful.
Hitch says he's glad he only sustained the small burn, but he's unsure of his future vape use.
Most likely I'll end up quitting. This definitely was a wake-up call.
The FDA did release new guidelines on Friday to begin regulating the amount of nicotine in vapes and e-cigs, but regulation of the devices is still not a part of the new guidelines.
And for a lot of people out there, you're going to say this hardly ever happens, but for the people it does happen to, it's serious. And you look online and you quick Google search and you see it's happened dozens of times.
I would not recommend Google searching it, but it has happened. And honestly, these little devices, you don't think that they would have that much power, but when
get so hot.
When those batteries explode and they're right next to that heat, source in there, the explosion is pretty big. Yeah,
thanks so much for that story, Molly. What was originally called in as a gas leak closed down a section of Broadway in downtown Fargo tonight. 4th to 6th Avenue were blocked off as hazmat crews went to investigate the smell of natural gas. However, it ended up being a refrigerant leak caused from a broken line on a chest freezer. The material, sulfur dioxide, is an irritant, but only causes trouble in closed spaces and isn't lethal. Crews vented the building and there was no danger to the public. We now know the identities of 3 women involved in a deadly crash in North Fargo yesterday. The 2 women injured in the crash were identified as 26-year-old Chelsea LaCroix and 32-year-old Denise Morin. 28-year-old Erica Peterson was declared dead on scene. The car missed a turn on County Road 31 and went airborne after traveling down an embankment. The car landed beside a tree in front of a home. LaCroix was found inside the vehicle, while Morin and Peterson were both ejected from the car. Police say no one in the car was wearing a seatbelt at the time of the crash. Emergency crews were out in Fargo today cleaning up an accident. A car lost control and hit a light pole on NP Avenue. The street was shut down for a short time. A woman was driving the vehicle. We don't know how badly she was hurt or if she's going to be cited for the crash. A Ponce man will make his initial court appearance tomorrow, facing charges stemming from a hit and run in Detroit Lakes earlier this month. Randy Lee Kettle has been charged with criminal vehicular operation. According to court documents, Kettle was driving a car he borrowed when he hit a bicyclist from behind, then left the crash. The crash happened off of County Road 124 near Detroit Lakes on July 18th. Jared Moran, the bicyclist, was treated at Essentia Hospital in Fargo and is now recovering at home. A Saturday night crash sent 2 men to the hospital and 1 man to jail. It was a 1-car crash that happened near Ponsford on County Road 124 east of County Highway 37. People who saw the accident said it looked like the vehicle lost control after rolling through a stop sign and going into a ditch. 20-year-old Sean Jones was airlifted to a hospital in Fargo, and an ambulance took 19-year-old Adrian Warren to a hospital in the area. The driver, 19-year-old Benjamin Jones, was taken into custody and is being held on criminal vehicular operation, driving while impaired, and 3rd-degree burglary. It was a hot one out today, but it didn't stop the community from turning out for a good cause. The 5th annual Golden Drive aims to raise awareness of the challenges facing those that are homeless, especially children. Through fun and games, organizers hope that they can start a conversation and maybe find a solution to protect these kids.
It's traumatic for the children. They're from school to school. School's out in the summer. There goes a guaranteed meal. They are no different than any other child. whether you're housed or not, these children are part of our community, and we can make a difference.
Some more sobering stats. Children who are homeless are also more likely to get sick and miss school than kids who live in a normal situation. One farmers market setting up shop in Moorhead is looking to attract a different sort of crowd. Here at the Nomo Farmers Market, vendors hawk their best fruits, vegetables, and other local produce. The goal of the market is to cater to those who go out to the lakes and might miss the Red River Market on Saturdays. They hope that this niche is able to have a better connection to their community.
A connection to the community, to the food and how it's grown is an important thing. I'm just a nature guy in general, and the more people are connected to where their food comes from is extremely important, especially from a local standpoint.
The market is set to run for the next few months on the last Sunday of each month.